As a modern politologist, I greet my viewers with a liberal message of bringing you the latest news in the politics. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, on June 12th, actually, U.S. Congress, House of Representatives, subjected corrupt U.S. President, neo-fascist U.S. President, Republican President George Bush Jr., they subjected him to impeachment. Actually, House of Representatives impeached George Bush with 220 about votes from the Democratic faction of U.S. House of Representatives and about 30 votes of moderate Republicans. But mainstream right-wing media, which contains such neo-fascist and from right-wing politics of cutting taxes to the rich, such as Wolf Blitzer from CNN anchor, or white supremacist John Keane and neo-fascist Republican CNN host from Narco Mafia, Lou Dobbs, who opposes amnesty for eligible illegal aliens. Unlike those people, they never mentioned about the impeachment of corrupt Republican U.S. President George Bush by Congress on behalf of Denis Kucinich, who actually submitted the 35 article of impeachment on June 11th alone, and they actually Democrats impeached him along with 30 votes from moderate Republicans. Now there is another news that according to Paolo Guzanti's audio tapes, Russian audio tapes of Alexander Litvinenko, former FSB colonel and Russian spy and defector in London. In these tapes, which I heard on YouTube, you can actually hear those tapes from Paolo Guzanti, audio tapes of Alexander Litvinenko, FSB defector in London, revelations. Alexander Litvinenko blamed ex-Russian president and now it's Prime Minister of Russia, Vladimir Putin, in harboring and organizing terrorists such as Al-Qaeda terrorist Semyon Mogilevich, who actually was given refuge and on Putin's summer house dacha in Russia, where he actually resided in the house that was designed by the Russian government for top Russian officials. Actually, it was conspiratorial apartment of Russian government. And actually, in this audio tapes where Paolo Guzanti, Alexander Litvinenko makes revelations to another Italian spy, I believe Mario Scaramella, who actually made him reveal those revelations, and this Alexander Litvinenko also recognized himself that he was a Russian spy, as he claimed that he would say anything that his Moscow spy handlers would tell him to do. So they wouldn't hurt his brother, Maxim Litvinenko. He was just looking for a vain excuse to be a Russian spy, to be manipulated by his Russian spy handlers in Moscow. And the Russian FSB service actually glorified him by making his picture, his sexy picture, at the target paper for Russian FSB training camp. Actually, and Russian journalist Evgeny Kisilyov, he was covering up for Alexander Litvinenko, actually by withholding many of his revelations. Actually, I believe that Alexander Litvinenko told that Yuri Shvets, former KGB operative, was selling illegal weapons in Italy, and also he said that Yuri Shvets, former KGB operative, illegally wiretapped and recorded all the conversation of former Ukrainian President Kuchma and delivered it to ex-Russian President Vladimir Putin, who is a terrorist. And I believe that Vladimir Putin, Russian Prime Minister, is the main terrorist who stands behind the murder of Alexander Litvinenko and Anna Politkovskaya. As Alexander Litvinenko explained in English that he blamed Russian President Putin in killing dissident Russian journalist Anna Politkovskaya, famous Russian political journalist that exposed Russian brutalities in Chechnya, and blamed Russian President Vladimir Putin for receiving paybacks from Russian mobster Pashka Fedulov, illegal owner of Uralkhimmash. Actually, in those tapes, his London press conference, Alexander Litvinenko, Russian spy and former FSB, Secret Service political police colonel from the ranks of civilians, he actually blame Russian President, ex-Russian President Vladimir Putin and now Prime Minister of Russian Federation Vladimir Putin for the murder of Anna Politkovskaya because he knew his phone number. And Vladimir Putin met Alexander Litvinenko personally. And I believe that Alexander Litvinenko was a Russian spy who betrayed the location of exact location and timing of whereabouts of late Russian journalist Anna Politkovskaya to his Moscow spy handle such as Logovoy and Russian President Putin himself, because he knew his phone number, he had access to Vladimir Putin personally. He was member, Alexander Litvinenko was member of close ambience of London recluse and former Russian oligarch Vladimir operative of KGB, who actually funneled millions of stolen Russian gold through his Swiss
from Mabetex, who's money launderer. He should be indicted on money laundering charges. And I believe Russian President Vladimir Putin should be indicted on charges of terrorism, aiding and abetting terrorism, as he hid former American citizen and illegal arms dealer Semyon Mogilevich in his